Okay.
Oh, hi!
Hey guys. Oh, yep, we're live now.
Yeah, we're good.
Hey guys. It's Lori Huffman, Regional Vice President.
Edie Meeks, Area Manager.
We are live sitting outside of Starbucks here in Irvine, California. We just wrapped up and getting ready to catch a flight to back to Louisville, Kentucky. And so we're just wanted to walk through and share some of the things that we learned at the RVP2B. So just give you a little frame of reference, what this training was, is basically they had an incentive trip that you can earn as an area manager. If you bonus 2 months within the qualifying period, you get to earn this trip. And it was something not really on our radar, but that we just happened to get last year, and it's been completely amazing. They basically, the first day, let us go to the, we went to headquarters at Arbonne, and everything is top notch. They got to walk us through the hallways with all the NVP pictures, and I really felt like that whole tour was really to help us paint vision of seeing ourselves there as VPs. We actually gave us, of course, cute little swag bags and all kinds of little gifts, but they had a wall with our picture just like they did with the MVPs and the on the wall. And so we can actually see themselves. So everything they do is strategically to paint vision for ourselves. And that was kind of the overall arching theme, I think, of the whole event, was around mindset and things like that, and capitalizing on your strengths. So we're gonna kind of go back and forth and talk through some of the different topics that they talked about. We have our notes in front of us. We kind of try to organize a little bit, but we're going to be back and forth, just like sharing things as they pop in our heads, and also some of the notes that we personally took. So I'm going to let, and so off the bat, yesterday, Stan Mork was present on Friday and Saturday. And it was just really cool because, we got to meet him and talk to him and get pictures with him. But also he got up and spoke and just talked about his father and his father's vision for the company. And really it's about the culture and what they saw for this company. And one of the things that kept coming back up, and he said very clearly, it's not about getting to RVP, it's becoming an RVP.
Yeah.
So it's not something that you can just quickly attain because of following steps. It's something you have to become inside out. And so I'm gonna let Edie take it away with some of the first tips of the first person.
Okay. I'm on the wrong page. Give me 1 second.
And we're helping sharing the phone.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, so one of the first speakers was Aline Kazarian. She's an RVP, and she was on the trip last year, and then she promoted this year. So that was really cool to see, like, she went on the same trip and then she promoted afterwards. Super exciting. Ooh, and we didn't mention that I guess all the area managers on this trip were in the top 8% of area managers, which was super exciting.
Yes.
And then out of all the 200 people, there were 40 that had already promoted to RVP. So that was really, really exciting. And just like, I know for me it was really encouraging, and I hope for you all that's encouraging too, because wow, it's just like so doable, like when you really think about it. Yep. So anyways, back to her. So Aline really talked about like having a big why. And then one of the quotes that she said that really stood out to me was, this like really hit me hard. Be content to be thought of as foolish or stupid in your journey. So yeah, that's just pretty intense because, like we experience that decently often, just people not really understanding or grasping what we're doing. And to really truly move forward and past that, you have to be okay with not everybody liking you and not everybody thinking, that you're doing a really smart thing. Like some people will never get it, and that's totally fine, and we have to be okay with that. And then, so let's see. I don't know for sure, I haven't watched this SoundCloud yet, but it was recommended to watch the Sarah Hines Go for No. And then there was another girl that was talking about, she had 158 no's and she didn't sell a product for 18 months at the beginning of her business.
That was Sarah Dunning, by the way.
Yeah.
She is a Canadian EMVP now. Yes, 158 no's.
And now she's the top income earner in Canada. So just, wow, that was cool. So just be okay with people saying no and just go for the no's. Like, that just means you're that much closer to getting to the yeses. And I think you were going to talk about the best.
Oh, so
Claire.
so NVP Claire Rizzoli, love her. She was so just like, I couldn't even keep up with the nuggets. It was just like boom, 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 and a lot of them I've heard for 3 years, but to hear it again and some of the things she said is, you don't need an upline, you need a downline. So she said, do not be focused on the things that your upline is not doing for you. It is not about them. Like, you're going to embrace them and follow their lead, but you have to have a downline to be able to promote and move this through this company. So that was impeccable. And she said, you always have to grow yourself first. You cannot turn around and face your team to grow them. You have to be the best on your team. You have to be the best independent consultant. You have to be the best coach. You have to be the best leader. You have to be the best mentor. You have to be the best mentally strong person on your team. You have to be best at having a crystal clear vision for you and your team. You have to know exactly where you're going, because people will not follow you if you don't know where you're going. You have to feel the fear and do it anyway. The best don't wish, they work for it. The best read, the best listen, the best are consistent, the best sell and sponsor, and the best hit their DM bonus consistently every month. So I just love, she went on this thing for like 3 minutes straight of the best. You have to be the best. And one of the other tips that I loved, she said, if you want to know who your leaders are on your team, she said literally she covers the names up on her team and covers their QB, and she looks at who is sponsoring. She said those are your leaders and those are who you're going to promote and lead with. So I just thought that was like, I couldn't even keep up. I was writing so fast. So that one hit me really good, to make sure that we are the best on our team, because that's who your team's going to follow.
Yep. Okay, and so she also talked about, I think it's the 60s. I don't know.
60s.
6, I think. But so basically these are just kind of steps to, the first one is just decide. Like, you have to make the decision, and you have to decide when you're going to promote. You have to decide what you want, and you have to decide to work on yourself, because like Lori said earlier, you can't just go through the motions. This is like developing yourself and who you are, so that you really can be like the leader that you're called to be. So yeah, decide is the first key thing. And then discipline. When you have discipline, you're really just completely unstoppable, because there's nothing that can get in your way when you're disciplined. So she said discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. So that's really kind of like bridging the gap between having those dreams and aspirations and like actually getting it done and accomplishing. And then the third was detach from the outcome. And she just kind of talked about, like, we hear that a lot, you know, like, don't get attached to the results, just do the activity. And so she shared with us like what our jobs are. And one is share the mission, share the opportunity and the products. The second was provide solutions. And I loved this quote with that. She said, I don't sell lipstick and protein, I provide solutions. That's like literally what we do. And then she said you have to earn trust and you have to focus on adding value to people. So you make it about other people, which is half the battle, and just, you know, sharing our solutions with people. And I kind of like posted that a little bit earlier today. And then let's see, the next one was do the do. And so let's see, she said, you know, share, utilize, reach out to 10 to 15 people each day. And she like specifically referenced Peyton Schneibner in that, and said that that's what she does. She literally sends out 10 to 15 messages every single day to new people. And if you want to talk to me about that and brainstorm, I have some really great ideas. Kind of like besides the point. And then the next one was drive the bends. So you need to pick out your bends. First of all, you need to pick out what you want. You need to look. You need to test drive it. I need to do that still. because you need to really feel yourself in that situation, and create that. It's not just about like having the vision, it's about really picturing yourself in that spot, what you're wearing in the car, what music you have on, are the windows down, what type of car is it, and just seeing yourself, because the vision just has to occur in your mind before you actually actualize it, or else reality will kind of catch up to you and maybe kind of get your mindset in, a bad place. But you need to have that positive mindset and just visualize everything that you want. And then the last one, this is not a D, so I kind of was confused on why that
We both were.
happened. I was like, it's an S, but sponsor like crazy. Be proactive. Never assume that this isn't the right fit for someone. Don't decide for other people if they would want to do this or they wouldn't. And then follow up. Hear that all the time. And then never stop sponsoring. So, this was kind of funny. She just talked about like how you need to get out. And she said people are not in your house. So don't sit around in your house, because you're not gonna meet new people. So I loved that. And then, okay, so there was a question and answer. Oh wait, hold up. There's a cool quote here too. I forgot. She said, "We get paid for our stamina, not like the actual." I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah, she also said, if it's good enough for you, it's good enough for them. So don't assume that, otherwise. So that was a good quote that I put a star by.
Yeah. So there was a question and answer period.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the questions someone asked was, what does she say to people when someone's like, oh, I don't know if I have enough time, or like I might sign up like in a couple months, like it's just not right now, and like kind of what you would respond to that with. And she said that she says, she totally does the feel, felt, found thing, like, oh, that's totally fine, like I totally get it, I've been there. And then she says, may I make a recommendation? And then once they say yes, because most people aren't like no, then she says, I recommend just jumping in, and I will just teach you as you go, because the best thing to do is to just jump in and move forward, even if you have no clue what you're doing, because that's what, as leaders, like we are required to teach them what to do. And so, they can start making a paycheck immediately by doing that. So I just thought that was kind of cool, is just that gives you kind of an in to be like, may I make a recommendation? I liked that.
Yep. Another question, the very first question that was asked, which I thought was really good tactical, was, what do we say to a brand new consultant? Thank you. Woo! What do you say to a brand new consultant? And I felt like this was just reassuring that our team is doing the right thing. She said we always lead with the business. We cannot lead with products that does not take us in the right direction. We have to start there and then step down from there. So lead with the business. She said books that are absolute must for new consultants: 4-Year Career by Richard Bliss Brooke. She said GoPro by Eric Worre, and Get Over Your Damn Self by Romy.
I can't remember her last name.
I can't remember her last name. It's Romy, Romi. But those are the 3 books. She said really clearly explain the power of network marketing, because what we are doing, we are growing teams. We are also a direct sales business, but that is not where the growth is going to come from. So that was something, and talking about on a scale 1 to 5, where do you see yourself? And we do that, I think, really well in this team. So that was another question that I thought was good.
And Kathy.
Yeah. Okay, so then Kathy Epperson, who is native to Kentucky. She is an ENVP, and I love Kathy because she gives it to you straight. And some of the things she talked about, she spent a lot of time in the beginning about the X Factor. And the X Factor, being people that you'll meeting the right people. And she says you have to walk and posture yourself like a VP. She said you have to do that before you become the VP. She went into great detail on how she would dress and walk around like she is already driving the car, like she is already having the income, because you have to have that confidence for people to want to join you and follow your business. So that she spent a lot of time on that.
And you can see that, like you can tell who is an MVP. Like in an entire room of 50 people, you can literally tell who they are. It's the craziest thing.
Yep. She also talked about reading EOAs. We used to get those in our box, but they're all electronic and you can find them on the source. So reading those and finding and identifying with someone that speaks to you in their story. And also she says nobody wants to follow, and I mentioned this, nobody wants to follow you if you don't know where you're going. So you have to create that vision of where you're going. So if you don't have the paycheck, you don't have the car yet, you don't have those things, you're going to speak with authority like you are going to get them. You are going to get them, and they want to join you because you're going, and they can either join you or not. So the confidence, the commitment, the posture of knowing where you're going.
Okay. So her whole thing was like my jam. I loved it. This was so awesome to me. So she said, I think like oftentimes we kind of limit ourselves like in our minds of what we actually can accomplish. And so she said, you know, limitations live only in your mind and fear is a liar. And we need to live our dreams. Most people are living in their fears. Like they're setting limitations for themselves because in their minds they don't really believe that it's possible. And so we need to live our dreams, not our fears. And once your mind is made up, really fear diminishes a lot. And so that was just, I love that. Limitations live only in your mind and fear is a liar. And then if you have that anxiety and you're nervous to, you know, go forward and like do, you need to just turn that anxiety into urgency. And like literally the worst that can happen, guys, if like even if you didn't hit your promotion, the worst that can happen is you're going to increase your paycheck a lot and you're going to inspire your team because they're going to see you pushing forward, and like that's, you know, just awesome. There's nothing wrong with that. And then let's see, I cannot even read my handwriting. Yes, don't let your ego get in the way of declaration. And I was just telling Lori about how it's really easy for me to do. It's like you set this goal in your mind and this plan for action, and like when you're gonna promote, like I just said, decide when. Like I have a date of when I'm gonna promote to RVP, and it's terrifying to declare out loud because I'm so afraid that it wouldn't happen, you know. But she just said, don't let that ego get in the way of the declaration. And then she said that, you know, VPs never adjust their goals. They just adjust their activities. So if you're not close to your goal right now, you just need to amp up your activity. And like I said, the worst that will happen is your paycheck will increase and you'll inspire people. And then, so kind of going along with that, you need to embrace your like life experience. Like you can't lead with emotion. You can't be led by emotion. It has to be like whatever your circumstances, like that is not what you are a product of. Like you are a product of your decisions. And so she said, you know, 10% is what happens to you and 90% is how you react. And so, you know, that just goes all along with you just can't be led by emotion, which makes perfect sense. So if you're going through anything that is really getting you down, or even just a distraction of excitement, you need to understand that like that's just happening to you, but it doesn't have to define what happens next. Like you can get past that, and you know, 90% is how you react, and that's what you're going to achieve, not because of your circumstance that you're in. So yeah, I think that's all I have for that.
Yeah, and just some other little random notes that I had. She talked about, again, embracing your leaders, and she said, don't speak negative ever. She said it just doesn't serve you, so learning to really catch yourself and mind your mind with that. And she said you always need to show up. Every meeting, every call, everything you have to plug in. She said you will show up and you always have to learn. You will always learn something. There's always some little nuance or difference that you're going to hear differently that time. She talked about having accountability partners. Yeah, and I think those are kind of all the notes we had for Kathy. And then moving on to Beth Melcook, who's also ENVP. She said, you are the most important leader in your life. So there's that theme again that comes back around. Building a vision for your organization. You're building a legacy. And she said, the secret sauce. She said, do you want to know the secret sauce? And everyone's like, yes. Mindset, 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 mindset. If you mind your mind, everything else will come beyond that or past that. And then one of the things she said was, good is the enemy of great, and comfort is the enemy of growth. And it's like, wow, okay, that's a good one. And yeah, so I think those are all the notes I had for Beth. Did you have anything else?
Maybe, hold on.
All right, we're just checking back and forth here.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I had, so a little thing she said about mindset. She just described it, this kind of helped me like really picture it in like a like physical way, I guess.
Yeah.
But she just called mindset a skill and a muscle that has to be strengthened every single day. Because as we all know, like we can have a great mindset one day and then the next day it can just totally like crumple. And so she said the way that she's found is the best way to condition that muscle is through reading and affirmations. And so she talked a lot about just having those like really good affirmations about who you are. And I was telling Lori, like mine are scriptural based, like who God says I am, that's my identity. And so like reading those affirmations out loud to yourself every day, and then reading the books that are recommended to help you develop and grow in your leadership and everything, that's going to strengthen that muscle every day. It's going to like really keep your mindset awesome. So yeah, that's all I have for that.
Okay.
Oh wait, no I don't. Hold on. Okay. Oh yeah, this was great. So she said,
oh, the drops in the bucket.
It's really easy to look back at your team sometimes and get totally bogged down in them and think like, okay, like we're not moving forward, instead of you looking forward. And so she said instead of looking backwards at everybody else and analyzing what they're doing, just take a peek back and put little drops in their bucket, and truly love them where they're at. And so she described these little drops as kind of like an encouraging message or something. Like it doesn't even really have to be about the business. It's just filling them up and letting them know that they're loved without spending a lot of time dragging them along with you. You don't want to like drag someone that doesn't really want it along. You need like people that want it will follow you. So I just thought that was cool because it's a great way to encourage your team and still make it about the team and not you, but it's a way for you to help yourself move forward and not let anything hold you back. Yeah. And then it starts with you. So this was this was funny. She said she looks at her business and she's like, would my business be awesome if there was 100 of me on my team? And if you wouldn't be happy with 100 versions of you on your team, then you're not doing enough. If you were doing enough, you'd be like, oh my gosh, I'd love 100 of me on my team. But if that doesn't make you excited, then you know that you're not doing enough. Yeah, I think that's all I have.
Yep. And I guess just to wrap it up real quick, there was another Q&A at the end. And she said, the good and the bad of Arbonne is basically anybody can get involved. There were some interesting questions that popped up. And she said, so the good thing is that anyone can be involved. And she's like, the bad thing is anyone can be involved. So, always focus on those team that are really building and wanting to run with you as a partner. And she said, set timers to follow up. But one of the things that people were asking questions of it, how do you encourage your team? And I remember this comment a couple years ago is, the analogy of if you're leading, you're truly having to lead from the front. If you're positioned where you're facing backwards and you're facing your team, you're not leading anymore. You're starting to manage. And so it's always focusing forward, and instead of saying, hey, let's go, you just say, follow me. Because if you're saying follow me, you're doing your absolute best and you're doing what's required to move your team forward, and they're going to follow you. And that's all that we have. Dana Collins, we recorded that entire recording for you guys because I knew she would speak a lot of good nuggets, and hopefully you guys get a a chance to watch that. But I think we kind of wrapped up as many notes as we have. There was a lot of, you know, product information. Peter Matravers addressed us for a little bit and did some Q&A, which was really good. But hopefully this is a little overview and summary of what they talked about, and it's just so exciting. And as I mentioned last night on that little quick live, Arbonne, it goes above and beyond. They are so trustworthy in everything that they do, and it was just the whole time you just want so many people of your team to be there to see that. And
yes, we want you there, and you can get there.
Yes.
You so can do this. It's like, oh my gosh.
We were so excited, and you just want everyone there to see it, because it just puts into perspective, like, wow, this is so legit, and we are in the best gig ever.
Yes.
So.
Oh, and the people. You make so many friends because we all have this vision and and we all want like similar things in life, and so it's just, you surround yourself with people that are just phenomenal.
Yep.
I mean, you already can tell that just by being a part of Life by Design, but it's just, it's so cool to actually go, you know, to Arbonne, like headquarters, and see everything, and like see really what the company is like. And like my trust in Arbonne was so strengthened, like through this trip, just because I realized that they are who they say they are, and there really is no better company to be a part of.
Yep, they're
like,
top notch.
I believe that with everything in my heart.
Start to finish.
Yep. So you all are in the right place, and they keep saying it's the right time, so be encouraged by that. And I don't know all the secrets that are about to happen, but I know that it's like gonna be awesome, and I totally trust them. So be here next year, because oh my gosh, you can totally do it. You can, oh yeah, it's so awesome. I can't even say it.
Well, we are going to hop off, so hopefully you guys are encouraged by that. And if you have any questions, obviously just reach out or put comments in here, and we'll catch back up. But we are going to go catch a flight, and we will be back in Louisville, Kentucky, and we will see you guys all soon.
Yep.
All right, have a great one. Bye, guys.
All right.